So Robert De Niro is once again trending since he went down to the courthouse to stand up and call out Donald Trump again. I knew he was before I got around to watching the clips because I immediately saw my news feed light up with people posting things like celebrities should stay out of politics. We're going to talk about that more in a little bit. But I want to start here at the beginning of this because when De Niro showed up, he immediately was met with heckles and people there to try to muddy the water and distort things. It's to be expected from Trump supporters. But De Niro stood his ground and he called them out for who they are and he called Trump out for what he is. And it's great to watch. Take a look at this.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, this is really, even these people over here are kind of, it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy. And this thing, Donald Trump has created this. He should be telling them not to do this. But he's just, he wants to sow total, he wants to sow total chaos, which he's succeeding in some areas and places to do.
You know, MAGA absolutely loves to gaslight us, but we're not going to let them. I know there's going to be people out there who's going to say, oh, no, Trump's not there to sow chaos. Trump just stays calm, cool, and collected. It's Biden that's ranting. But here's Donald Trump talking about De Niro, and he says that De Niro got MAGA'd. Take a look at this.
Then they have a protest of Robert De Niro yesterday. He's a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there, and he got MAGA'd. He got MAGA'd yesterday. He got a big dose of it. But I just want to say it's a very unfair trial.
So De Niro was right. Trump is all about the chaos. He loves it when people shows up and rallies for him. He loves it when people goes to bat for him. Donald Trump is all about chaos, and don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking anything different. But, you know, back during Trump's first presidency, I worked with this lady from the Northeast, and she talked to me a whole lot about how back years ago, people up there, they saw through Trump for what he was long before the rest of the country saw it. People in New York were already seeing it. And I love the fact that De Niro points this out. This is great.
We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city. It's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country.
You know, I've said many times that Donald Trump reminds me of a pro wrestling villain. I love pro wrestling. I've watched it since I was a kid. If I want to see a pro wrestling villain, I'll go watch pro wrestling. I don't want that villain to be running my country. I don't want that person to be the leader of the free world and to have all that power. I don't want Skeletor as our president. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous that we're at this point. And it's ridiculous, really, that Donald Trump caught on with the rest of the world, but he did. And De Niro talks a lot about that right here.
But around the country, people who didn't know him as we did started to support him. They bought into his bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault and who, just a couple of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse. Somehow he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution and on January 6th rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed. But it's a coward's violence. You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way. He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him by making a suggestion, an inference. And his gang grovels and follows his obvious order.
He's absolutely spot on right there. I could listen to that all day. There's so much truth in that. I remember back when Trump was first running, I was blown away at how people in my part of the world latched onto him. Here was a guy, like he said, who had never threw a punch himself, never been in a real fight himself, never had to work, never had to struggle, never had calluses on his hands or sweat on his brow, never actually earned his living the way that people in my part of the world do every day of their lives. I was blown away at how fast they got behind him. I could see where some people who were disgruntled and mad at the world, I could see them getting behind it. But what really blew my mind even more was the fact that he was able to win over the Christians and win over the evangelicals and ministers that I sat under when I was a kid. You know, those same guys that used to call out people for acting like that was saying that that's the guy we needed to be voting for. And people who said that they loved and supported the Constitution just gave this guy a pass for everything. It's been truly mind-boggling to sit back and watch it all. But De Niro is just starting to cook, so let's let him talk some more. We do have a second chance here with Donald Trump. We have a second chance to not make the same mistake twice. You know, I really believe that Donald Trump's presidency was the biggest mistake this country ever made, because look at the rights that it took away from women. Look what it did to civil rights, and look what it did to the temperament of our country. Look what it ushered in. Look what it brought to the table. Look at everything Donald Trump has done, and look at his people who gives him a pass for it every single day. And then ask yourself, do we really want to go back down that road again? Open that can of worms again? Because like De Niro says in this next clip, we're not here to scare you, but maybe we are.
What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
You know, I have to say, I never thought we would be at a point where someone could stand up and say, if we elect this person, they will never leave. I never thought I would ever hear anyone say that, and I never thought that I would actually believe them if they did. If you'd have told me 10 or 15 years ago, one day Robert De Niro is going to be warning us about a dictator, I'd be like, no, there's no way that could happen. But that's where we're at, folks. That's really where we're at in American politics, and that's why this election is so important. But Marjorie Taylor Greene shared this next video of De Niro getting heckled. And once again, look at how they are cheering on the chaos.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're washed up. Fuck you. You're a little punk. You're a softie. You're a nobody. Your movies suck. You're trash. You're trash. You're done. You're done after this guy.
So Marge shared that video, and then she had this to say about it. Actor Robert De Niro in New York attacking Trump supporters and screaming the same lies about Trump from 2016 that have been proven to be false. Guy in MAGA hat tells De Niro he's washed up. De Niro doesn't seem to care that half the country watches movies and will stop. Again, notice the gaslighting. She accuses Robert De Niro of attacking Trump supporters. He was there to attack the Trump supporters. It is nothing but gaslighting from these people. And then she has to say that, hey, De Niro doesn't seem to care that people's going to stop watching his movies. You know, he doesn't care, and I respect him for it. I respect people who are speaking up and speaking out and do not care what the consequences are. I love the fact, I don't know Robert De Niro personally, but I know that he doesn't give a flying fuck if that guy in that red hat ever watches Goodfellas again. You know, that's not what this is about. That's not why we're here. And anytime someone tells a celebrity to shut up and sing, I just have to remind them that you voted for the guy that was the host of Celebrity Apprentice. You voted for the guy who made his life, like De Niro said, out of being a celebrity, out of getting in the tabloids. That's who Donald Trump has always been. He is the poster boy for celebrity. He is the poster boy for lifestyles of the rich and famous. That's what he is. That's who he is. And when people start standing up and saying to actors like De Niro, you should just get back to acting, you should stay out of politics. I saw my timeline blow up with people suddenly, yeah, actors need to stay out of this. Robert De Niro needs to keep his mouth shut. I'm never watching his movies again. Hey, don't watch his movies again. We don't care. He don't care. I don't care. No one that cares about democracy cares at all if you watch another Robert De Niro movie. And when you sit and say that he should, stay quiet, you don't say that to John Voight. You don't say that to Clint Eastwood. Don't say that to Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, Hank Williams Jr. Let's see, who else we got? Scott Baio, John Schneider, Kirk Cameron. You ever told them to shut up and stay out of it? No, whenever those people brings up politics, you like, hell yeah, they tell it like it is. They're speaking the truth. But when it's someone that says something you disagree with, suddenly they should stay out of politics. Well, we see through you. We see what you're doing. We see the gaslighting, and we're not going to fall for it. I respect the hell out of Robert De Niro for standing up and saying what he's saying. Every time he talks about Trump, he nails it. He knocks it completely out of the park. And we need more people doing that because for whatever reason, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this one, there are still people who's on the fence. There's still people who's undecided. And if they were a big Robert De Niro fan and they look over and go, you know, he's making sense, then it was worth it. It was worth it. And De Niro has made a career. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's on my Mount Rushmore of actors, and I'm not just saying this because I'm making this video. He's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of actors. He's made his mark on Hollywood. He's made his mark as an actor. He does not need that guy in the red hat support. He does not need MAGA support. He doesn't need your uncle continuing to watch, you know, Casino. He doesn't need that in his life. And we don't either. What we need is people standing up for democracy and shouting down Donald Trump. Like he said, we have a second chance to not make the same mistake twice. And people are watching us from all around the world. I get messages all the time from people from other countries who say to me, Brando, we're watching. We're paying attention right now to what's going on in America because what happens in America affects all of us. And we're really hoping you guys don't fall right into the same trap again. That's what we got. That's why we have to keep our eye on the ball. This isn't about spreading fear. It's not about spreading hyperbole. It's not about trying to be divisive. I would love nothing more than to come together and to unify. But we cannot unify with people. We cannot shake hands with people who has a clenched fist. It's not possible. But we have to continue to stand up and we have to be on the right side of history. And if no one wants to watch a Robert De Niro movie again, that's fine. I'll still be watching them. You know, I'm of the nature that I could still watch a John Voight movie, even though I think he's a complete and total dumbass. I'll say this: I could still watch Deliverance. Okay, I could still watch that movie again. I'm never going to say to John Voight that he should stay out of politics. I'm never going to say to Kid Rock that he should shut up and sing. I'm going to call him an idiot if I feel like they are, but I'm never going to tell them that because people don't realize when you tell an artist to keep his mouth shut or her mouth shut. When you tell them to stay out of things and not use their platform and not use their voice, it's one of the biggest insults you could give them because what you're saying to them is, I want you to sing and dance for me. I want you to act for me. And I want you to comfort me. But don't say anything that I disagree with. It's all about me. Don't say anything I disagree with. I'm paying you my money. So please don't. Hey, look, take your money somewhere else. If you don't like what they're saying, take your money somewhere else. Don't watch their movie. Don't go back and watch their team play ball. Don't listen to their albums. Burn their albums. Dance on them like the people did when John Lennon said the Beatles was bigger than Jesus. We don't care anymore. Burn them in the streets. Take every Robert De Niro movie. I promise you he will not care if MAGA goes out there and stacks up DVDs and jumps up and down on them. He's not going to care. He's going to keep standing up for the truth. And that's why I respect the hell out of it.